we are talking about some pretty low-level graphics things that Paul gets very excited about. Hello, it's the
Hello.
Stardock stream. I'm Adam. That's Paul. He's the lead designer on Galactic Civilizations 3, which we're showing you today.
Oh my God! And the planets' names are back on by.
We are playing a local build today. So this is a build
Again.
that, again, just like last week, but a newer build than we had last week. So this is a build that nobody has seen outside the building. And it's a little janky, as builds that don't go through QA are. But we ask your forgiveness if we see any weird bugs and things. Here's a new screen that I don't think was in the
it's because
is not in the public build.
We just completely gutted the old one. Although I need to change a couple things here, but this is pretty cool. This is honestly the first time I've actually seen this working. So, hey, yay, it works. So this shows each individual module on the thing. Shows its size, its
The biggest
mass, its crew, cost.
So great.
I think that cost is wrong. Yeah, that cost
On
is
the
wrong.
survey? Yeah, probably.
That's the raw cost, not the rush cost, and we want that to be the rush cost.
Oh, yeah. The first thing I noticed when I loaded up this build to make sure it would at least run for the stream here was I literally kind of just did a, ooh, shiny, because the ships are so shiny now.
Well, they're not done shiny, but yeah, they are shiny. So you end up with here, let me get back out on the main map. But like I said, I don't know, we're at 720p on the stream, so I don't know if people can really tell. But you know, the reflections are all working properly. The normals have like a lot more depth to them now. I don't know if people can see, but you can see the up and down of the paneling, and that was something that was all over the place in Galactic 2, and for some reason was not showing up, and it was mostly because it was a bug. Uh-oh.
Sorry, that's my fault.
Echo.
God. Sorry, I'm testing. I actually I can't show you this screen because I'm testing a website that's for a game that we haven't announced yet. But we are embedding the stream on the website. Which is very exciting, but I forgot that I had my laptop.
Oh, and I forgot
sound
that.
on.
Yeah. So we got all the anomaly things are built in right now.
Right.
Oh, look at that. That's sweet.
No, I like those a lot. I kind of want the gameplay info on the tooltip rather than the like lore
Context area?
description. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you Paul and I have thought about this for a long time.
No. I agree. Oh, see, now we have a queue here.
Yes, I saw. I should turn off. Hold on, let me.
Oh, that's all right.
There.
It's down here in the corner. It looks
Yeah.
just like the one. And this
I
button
got
is
it.
in the wrong place.
The queue is awesome. I'm so happy to have the queue. I want a repeat though, because
I
there are a lot of
know.
times when I'm like, you know what you need to do is you need to build colony ships forever until
Yeah.
I tell you to stop.
I was thinking I might, now that we actually have this, I think I might actually put either put a checkbox or something that says build forever, and then it'll just keep building that one until you stop. That was a hotly debated thing. Well, not hotly. It was briefly debated thing between me and Brad.
I was gonna say, like, what's the argument? Like, no, we shouldn't have that.
Well, no,
button.
Brad was like, just click colony 10 times.
But
I mean, the button will eventually prompt you, right, and say, hey, you're out of colony ships. And maybe by then you'll have changed your mind. So, I mean, there is like a good reason.
guess.
There is logic to it. But since Galactic 2 was so much about that you did that all the time,
Right.
you expect that behavior.
right.
So I do feel like we need to bring that back.
I agree personally. So new shinies in the build, which is very exciting. One of the big things that is completely changed and in the process of having its changes kind of finalized is the ideology screen.
That is true.
That I would love to show.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look all that much different.
It doesn't look that different, but but we should talk about what's changing about it because it's so cool.
Okay, well, essentially, we kind of got rid of the idea of them we felt like ideologies were just too much like text. So ideologies are now more one-time events. In some ways, a lot of people will go, well, they still like text, but like here, let's see, we got oh god, this has my descriptions in it.
Oh yeah, they're all super like
Sorry about that.
placeholder. I like that pragmatism leads to pragmatic though.
Yeah, that's yeah. Well, if you follow pragmatism, you become pragmatic. They're much more like a kind of hefty things. Like so, we got like pragmatic, which essentially no one will declare war on you for 100 turns, which is pretty awesome if your whole goal is to turtle or to build. And then some of them are really simple. Free trade. Actually, this one will eventually give you a freighter, but right now I haven't given you a constructor because there's no trade in the game. Arbiter lets you build a arbiter, which is essentially a... Why is turn income set to that? Anyways, yeah, so that'll let you build a thing that essentially... Oh, yes, actually, I gave you a tourist spirit that generates pragmatic points, which was something that you couldn't do before. 3 constructors, that's pretty simple. Better relations, more trade routes.
The biggest thing to me is just like exactly what you said, and that just getting away from having it being another tech tree.
Yeah.
And getting those really kind of big, solid, noticeable bonuses like free ships and stuff is.
I want to actually get. Yeah, they are noticeable things. In the beginning, they're kind of minor, like, "Ooh, I got a trip, I got a ship." There's one here at the end. Oh yeah, this is definitely an old build. All planets receive X ship. That is actually all planets receive like a large balanced ship. So that's a freaking game breaker. But by the time you get there, a large balanced ship might not actually be. And if you only have 10 planets or whatever, you might be cranking that out every turn. But then again, it could also be the difference between dying and winning.
Right.
Some other ones, like I love this one, is this was actually Brad's idea, was to have every time you conquer a planet, your morale goes up. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Little things like that. But I have a bunch of other ones. Once this is all working, we'll experiment with some more radical ones. There is still super abilities to come. They won't probably be until beta 1. But super abilities are kind of like what we had I'm just calling them abilities in Galaxy of 3, but what we had in Galaxy of 2, where there were certain things like, everyone in your zone of control is limited, their speed is cut in half. Or you get to invade for free.
That's awesome.
Or things like that. I have one for my Dream Snathy expansion or mini expansion where every time the Snathy win a battle, they get to keep one of your ships. They salvage one of your ships. So
that'll get out of control pretty quickly.
Well, that's the whole point. I mean, that's why it's a mini expansion, because it'll probably be horribly imbalanced. Sure. But we'll have to make the version of the Snathy that is in the main game pretty balanced. But in the little campaign I want to do, they're going to be killing machines. And your whole point will be to just kill everyone in the galaxy.
I love it.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Everybody wants to play squirrels who conquer the galaxy. Okay, so ideology tree has changed. We got a lot of cool stuff, and these are all being hooked up now. Even though in beta 1 these will be working, some of them like that are related to trade or related to diplomacy will be off, but we'll be fixing that. Hey, what the? Oh wow! Look how shiny that is now.
That is crazy shiny.
What the heck
is
that?
It's like
what's funny is
that an artifact or what is that?
What? It's an artifact, and
artifact,
apparently it's a distorted artifact because I never fixed it for after we changed things. But that is the Altarian parts, right? With the asteroid materials, and apparently the asteroids have silver in them. So that's kind of cool.
I don't know. It kind of works as an artifact, though.
Well, no, that was the whole point. It looked good before too, but it was just gold. I don't know what happened there.
That's awesome.
Anyways, we also totally revamped the generation map generation, so the galaxy's a little more. We actually stole almost all of the code from Galaxy of 2's generation because Brad kept going, "Well, I did it in Galaxy of 2. I didn't." And we look at his code, and Alan's comment was like, "This is freakishly simple yet freakishly efficient. I mean, frequently good." So we just ripped it off and put it in.
Nice.
And you essentially get these really nice, you get a much more organic feel. We still have some new tech, like we actually have the ability to have a mask for like the spiral galaxy. So you can actually have a shape thing. If we want to make a a Stardock shaped galaxy, or for multiplayer maps or for
Right.
campaign maps, we can literally, force some crazy. I mean, you wanted to have like a grid shaped galaxy or something. You could.
Sure. And cool to have that capability for modders and map makers and stuff like that as well.
And then, and we just actually finally starting on the map editor, which, modders will be able to get their hands on, hopefully, right around the time we release. Might have a beta of it out before then, but sorry, I get distracted just yambling and not talking.
No, it's all good.
We have any
good
questions?
stuff. We have lots of questions. We have tons of questions, which is great. So I kind of prepped the forum post with announcing the stream with innovation as kind of a innovation versus iteration is kind of just a discussion topic, because it's something that our founders have been talking about a lot on the forums. It's the eternal question for us of, how Galciv 2 is it? Is it reskinned? Does it have more exciting things? Is it a more radical change? That's something that Stardock has been asking and arguing about internally for years on Galactic Civilizations 3. Of how much.
I don't know about arguing.
Discussing.
I've always been essentially on the camp of what we want is to make a better Galciv 2. I don't want to sound like, we're not going to change things just for the sake of changing them. I feel like that happens way too much. And nowadays, really what happens is games become simpler and simpler and simpler, and you lose that depth. And one of the things that was great about Galciv 2 was the depth. So our approach, my mantra has been to keep that depth, but make it more understandable and easier to learn and easier to master. Well, maybe not too easy to master. But and Brad asked me the other day, and he said, what, in one sentence, define what makes Galciv, why is Galciv 2 different, or what is better, or whatever. And I freaked out. I'm like, I don't know. And I said, well, it depends on who's asking and what they want to hear. But really the only answer I came up with was that it's a bigger, richer galaxy with more content and features, right? So
Sure.
It's really about that bigger, richer experience. We want the resources. We want smarter things. We want more. We want trade. We want the terrain. We want black holes and anomalies and things like that. Whereas we don't want to go, now it's 3-dimensional.
Sure.
But same gameplay, but it's 3-dimensional. Or we wanted to essentially, we want it to be the dream version of Galciv, and that's been my mantra. I've always been much more concerned about people going, you ruined Galciv 2, than people going, well, this is too much like Galciv 2. I mean, it's really, this is too much like this great 87 Metacritic game, okay, or 93, depending on which one you're.
Right.
So, I mean, I understand. That said, we're not just ripping off Galciv 2. It is not in any way a skin of Galciv 2. It is a whole new thing. It's a whole new engine. Matter of fact, we had to jump through a lot of hoops to keep a lot of the old Galciv 2 feeling because it's like, well, nobody does that like that anymore. So,
the biggest thing for me, not the biggest
here's
thing.
a Galciv 2 news robot.
That's the news robot.
I put that in because I was worried that we wouldn't get a new one.
Oh, in time for the
and
for the
immediately
release.
Derek saw it, and suddenly they have scheduled enough time to get the new one. So my evil plan was
That's
a
awesome.
success.
That's some quality managing upward.
Yeah,
I like
so
that. The biggest thing not the biggest thing, but one of the things that really strikes me about Galactic Civilizations 3, particularly in comparing it to Galactic Civilizations 2, is the UI. And we still have so much work to be done on the UI still, but there's your black hole, super cool, and
he doesn't have his anti-mana resources in the right spots yet.
when
When you clear the fog of war, you get this the particle like in a perfect
I
circle
noticed
for
that.
a second.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
then
funny.
it like trickles out, and now it'll spawn properly.
But I mean, like I was saying, we still have so much work yet to do, and particularly in polishing and refining the UI. But even so, just
Whoa.
things like the turn button being contextual, right? Things like you're having the planet list or the starship or starbase list or whatever, whatever tab you're on. Those kinds of things are so huge to me, just in my personal experience of playing the game.
Where's the? Sorry, I was checking out how glossy the Altarians have.
They're quite glossy. Oh, go check out the Iridium. The Iridium are. Oh wow, that's very very shiny.
They almost look too glossy.
I don't know. I kind of like it.
Well, I like it. I just worry that it looks fake.
Now, when we have particles getting shot out from these ships from their engines and stuff, are those going to kind of play off of the shininess at all? Are those going to be light sources? Are we going to have other light sources?
I'm going to say yes, but I don't honestly know 100%. Okay, so here's a Terran ship given the Ooh. Oh, I wish you guys... I don't know if they can see the bump on that. Look at the bump on the...
You should be able to see. I mean, it's in 720p.
That's pretty
That is
awesome.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so that essentially we redid some of the shaders to use... what do they call it? What do you fancy coder people call it? Material base.
He asks the marketing guy.
Material. Oh yeah. So yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I thought the Iridium were bugged when I first loaded it up because it was getting like a real white reflection off of one of them. Just a really high alpha. And I was like, what happened to our textures?
They look like Flight of the Navigator. That's pretty awesome, actually.
It's pretty cool. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I know. I like it.
But
here's an Iridium Terran ship.
Oh yeah, that is.
I need to replace these ships, but this guy will not actually probably make it into the final game. So, but save him off if you like him.
And we can't stop anybody from making anything they desire in the ship designer. So, but one of the things that I thought was a good point brought up by one of our players in the forum is the question of, Galciv 3 is not going to ship with every single feature that Galciv 2 had by the end of its kind of development cycle with 2 expansions.
No, and purposely we've left things off because we want to do more with them than we did in Galciv 2. Like we rather than just putting the same spy system in, we have a much more advanced spy system we want to do, but it's too big of a project. And then honestly, we don't want to overcomplicate the game for the first generation of people to play it. You get the game, you don't want to be like, oh my God, I have to know everything I knew in Galciv 2 to play it. So it is very helpful. I want to know why you get... This must only show up in release. Sorry. I can't stop debugging.
That's like me. I can't stop editing. Reading the internet is really difficult sometimes.
What the heck?
What is going on with the Drengen there?
The colony module's gone.
Weird.
Anyways, well, we'll fix that. Anyway, so what was my point?
Something about espionage system.
Well, yeah, we have the espionage system, and we're going to bring that in, but we're going to combine it with this new commander system, which I have, where you'll be able to have a commander that you can assign to a ship, and that commander will achieve experience points. So rather than your ship achieving experience points, your commander does, and then when that ship's outdated, you can send. Think of it like Captain Kirk. It's like, oh, I got Captain Kirk. Now he's really good. He's done all these great things. Your survey ship is out there getting experience points. I'm going to reassign him to my flagship, and now I get all these bonuses. And then when he gets enough experience, he becomes an admiral, and I can reassign him to a fleet and get the whole fleet bonuses. And then the espionage system is going to be much more advanced. Whereas I want to do. You'll be able to like spy on trade routes and spy on planets and spy on, there are lots of stuff like that, but it's all a lot. It's almost a mini game unto itself. And if we just dump that into the base game, the game is already, I know in the alpha, it seems pretty simple. Well, for Galciv 2 players, it seems simple. For normal people, it's still crazy. But by the time all of the features are in by like beta 3, there's gonna be a lot of stuff to master, and once you have diplomacy and the UP and anomalies and galactic events and there's so many things still coming in. It's really not fair to dump in a bunch more features. And then I will say that Terror Stars are left out on purpose because they are mind-blowingly game-breaking, and they will be coming back either in a DLC or an expansion once we figure out a way to not mind-blowingly. Also, and then in defense of that, honestly, they are also baked into the lore of the story. And
right.
At this point, there really shouldn't be any Terror Stars.
Sure.
I will have ways to kill planets if that'll make you happy.
If that doesn't make you happy, you're probably playing the wrong game. So we have a ton of questions coming out of the chat that we haven't kind of gotten to get to, for which I apologize. We're getting kind of more questions than we were going to possibly be able to answer anyway.
Well, let's do more questions since I can't seem to find anything interesting to do on the map without. I get too distracted.
Sure. Lots of questions about black holes, what they do, how they work, what happens when fleets get near them, blah, blah, blah.
Originally we were going to have black holes suck in and kill you. And we still might, but for the beta, they're just going to block the tile. So you can't go around.
So it's
Think
just
of them
one
like
tile
a space
that they're blocking currently?
No, they block
7.
A radius.
Okay.
And this radius should, in theory, be shown by a little line, which for some reason is not showing up.
Oh, okay.
Also, on the event horizon is where the antimatter is, so that you'll actually have to mine the black holes to get antimatter. I need to better seed how many are in the map, et cetera,
There's a lot of black holes right now.
Well, I put it up to abundance to make sure there was a couple
sure.
there. But this is really actually not that much for this.
Oh, no, it's not.
Size of a map.
I was just kind of looking at the Terran sector, I guess.
Yeah. So we're going to have the black holes. They are essentially the source of antimatter. They're going to be a big block tile at the moment. We were toying with the idea of having like a super black hole in the middle of the galaxy that would kind of serve as like a roadblock for, but that may or may not come in. Yeah, so that's the main thing. I do, like as you can see here, these icons, these are, right now it's using Durantium, but those will be antimatter nodes.
The chat suggests to just send Taurians to do the antimatter mining.
They're all dead now. Or in some, they're in hiding. There's other races to enslave. I've been working on the Drengen tech tree all week, so I'll tell you, it'll twist your brain. Try and think like them. And then we have a great writer that's working for us named Chris Buckles, who I write stuff down and I just to point him in the right direction, and I think, oh my God, this is bad for my psyche to be writing this stuff about slave pits and how they're so handy in boosting because essentially in Galactic 2 I've made it so slave pits, in Galactic 3 I've made it so slave pits are purely an adjacency bonus improvement, but they give adjacency bonuses to both manufacturing and research and big ones. So you have to give up a tile, but if you ring them with things, they're
totally
like awesome,
worth it,
right?
Because adjacency bonuses are so powerful.
But if you put one out in the middle of nowhere, it's a total waste of your money. So it's an interesting thing. But I'm like, okay, the slave, but we're providing slaves to them. You got to keep them alive. And then I send it back to him, and he's like, he comes back with just like mind-blowingly evil descriptions of these things. I can't think. But
Buckles is talented. He is a very good writer. We are super happy to have him. Yeah.
It makes me feel, because I feel like, well, I can do this, and then I get the stuff back from him. Like, it's for the best.
Yeah. No, it's for me, my background is in print and in writing and stuff like that, and the work that Chris is doing on Galactic 3 and on other Stardock projects, because he's contributing to pretty much everything we do at this point. It really is a huge improvement. It really, really is. So it's very, very good. Oh, someone in the chat saying that it's been saying June 6th for the dev stream for a couple months now, and that is a Twitch bug that I can't seem to figure out. So I apologize
they just got bought
for
by
that.
Google, so that'll be fixed immediately.
Oh, I'm sure that won't change anything about the product roadmap. Sigh.
Did I show people? Yeah, I think I showed that the planets are starting to look a lot better.
Oh, they look so much better. Getting questions about if there's going to be an Alpha 4. I think at this point we're probably not looking at releasing an Alpha 4 prior to beta. If nothing else, I'm
going to say that what we might do is I don't want to promise anything.
Yeah, it's still kind of up in the air.
But the press build could become Alpha 4 as
could.
well, and
We'll
then
see.
Beta follow to me the other beta. But it might not be worth it to do that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the press build looks. Spoilers: we give press special access. Sorry, like us and everyone
Like
else on the planet.
Like a whole week. Oh, this is. I can't decide if this is he must have done this on purpose.
Oh, like the weird texture on the planet.
Yeah,
X
and it's
thing?
funny. It's because it's called the shielded planet.
Ah,
Right? So
oh
you
yeah,
get a
Fred was working
planetary
on those.
defense bonus, and the whole idea behind this is that it's got a asteroid belt around it, or like a cloud. I was kind of thinking of the planet Cricket from the right, where you essentially and I think he read shielded and went, oh, it must literally look like it's made of armor. And then the funny thing is, it looks kind of cool.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
kinda
a little
works.
hard to. It's a little hard to sell to me. But yeah, I'm pretty happy in general with the way the planets are looking. I think we need some better lighting in this scene.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
overall, yeah, they're coming along.
I'd love to see like animated clouds, but that's probably a pain in the butt. And
Well,
probably
no, we actually are going to have like animated storms.
Okay.
Like see this storm here floating by? That would be that could be spinning.
that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
and then I also want to have like hot spots where like where your capital is, if it goes by, it'll like be glowing there. And so that's all polished though. Right now we wanted to make sure that the map generation was good. I'm worried that there's a little too many of these small pieces. So we'll probably make more big pieces, but other than that, I'm very happy with the way they turned out.
Yeah. Let's see. We're getting some questions on commanders. I mean, that's coming in expansion. It hasn't been spec'd out yet. Like, that's just way too early to talk about any like specifics on it. Oh, here's an interesting question. Is it possible in the future you would have a sort of Spore-esque shipbuilding where the AI races build ship designs based off of community creations?
It is possible.
I mean, we do that in like Legendary Heroes. The AI will take
Well, I think what
community-built
he's
stuff.
no, I mean actually in Galciv it will actually take if you're playing as Terran all the time and then you're playing against the Terran, it'll use your ship designs. If we do have the what we actually were talking about, literally like essentially having a shared ship design mode, right, and then a voting system or a ranking system so we can make sure that they're good ones. But then, like, if something's high enough ranked, the AI could actually mine the
would be
site
cool.
to pull down ships.
That would be cool.
We have to make sure that the problem is they'll have to be curated by somebody here because what is high rated in the game might be a ship that's made out of 100,000 pieces.
Sure.
And whereas we need to make sure it's not something that's going to grind the game to a halt when the AI makes 1,000 of them.
Well, Island Dog doesn't have anything to do, right?
Yeah, so...
He's in the chat. He's going to give me crap about that later. Let's see. What do we got? Somebody thinks that one ship looks too X-wingy. Obviously, we have no comment on that.
Well, that was that.
I know.
That
We have no comment. We have no comments on that. It's fine.
That ship was just a anomaly.
One good question, and this is something that some other games have done. Will we be able to turn off expansions and DLC when we play the game? Once you've bought some of those other pieces. That's an interesting question.
Well, most of the expansions will.
Because I mean, sometimes
Honestly, we do not have a solid model for that yet. In Galciv 2, what we did was each expansion was essentially its own EXE.
Right.
So you could literally play one. You could play all three of them. Now that things are easily done as DLC, that might be a little harder. So we'll have to put some thought into it. We do have essentially a whole separate modding structure so that and that will probably be similar to what we do with the expansions. So yeah, we should be, you probably will be able to. I don't want to promise because, like I said, that system isn't in yet.
Right.
But that's a good thing to keep in mind.
I would certainly want to, as a player, at least have that option because there are definitely times when it's just like, you know what, I don't even want to deal with this. I want to play a vanilla game and just kill everybody with whatever. Can I design my own Terror Star to make it look like the Death Star? We can't tell you not to do anything in particular with the ship designer, and it is very powerful. So, we encourage
building
you
a
to,
Terror Star would be hard because there's no Terror Star tech.
in the base game, yes.
Yes.
In the base game when they exist in the game. Let's see. What else do we got? Got some questions about United Planets. Is it set up where members only vote on proposed resolutions, or are there also annual meetups? We haven't really talked much about the United Planets.
We have not talked about the United Planets, but
it's a big topic. I
kind
of wonder.
It is actually quite a lot richer than in Galciv 2. And it's funny because every time people goes, well, what's one of the big features? And I say, well, United Planets is way better, and everybody's like glazes over because they don't really think about it. But what we're going to do is, yes, it'll be similar to Galciv 2. After you've met everybody, United Planets will be formed. But unlike in Galciv 2, there won't just be random things proposed. The first thing you will do is elect a chairman, and that could be you. And then the chairman proposes measures, and there's a big library of measures, and you can essentially then use the United Planets as like a weapon. You can go, I vote that we sanction the Drengen, or and essentially, so there's all these little things like that, and then they can do the same thing to you. It is, and then there is, and I actually haven't decided if this will be the diplomacy victory or if it's a separate one, but you will eventually, if you can convince everybody to vote for you as leader of the galaxy, as God King of the galaxy, you can win the game that way too. But it'll be a little different. It'll be a lot more interactive. So I'm looking forward to that. It probably is 2 betas away before anybody sees it, though. It technically works, but it's mostly just dialogue boxes right now.
Sure.
And nobody wants that. So.
And there's also minor races to
There's minor races need to come in, and although minor races aren't in the UP. So. The reason I came to the tech tree when you said that is there's a couple of techs here for the UP. So, like lobbyists, you get this, and it's like blah 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 blah. See, he rewrote my thing, so I don't even remember what this is. This essentially makes it so certain people will always vote for you, and then this one makes it so that allies will always do something for you, and the veto one means that you can actually veto anything that is passed that you don't like.
It's interesting that it's all in the tech tree. Traditionally, in 4X's, diplomacy hasn't really lived on the tech tree at all.
Well, it doesn't really belong in culture. It's in the diplomacy tree.
Sure.
Diplomatic relations. So, and this may move. But anyways, yeah, so that's and these are really the only UP related texts. Everything else in the UP takes place in the UP. What happens in the UP stays in the UP.
Sure. Let's see. I think we're pretty much out of time at this point, even though people are asking us to extend the stream. Unfortunately, we do have a game to make. The people we had a question about hot seat multiplayer. We're not making hot seat multiplayer. I apologize to all 5 people who want it. But it's literally just like we have a small team. Yeah. We don't have the resources to.
And then the audience for a hot. Yeah,
it's really small. Like I know it doesn't matter if you're one of those people. It doesn't matter that it's a small audience because
it matters that it creates a buttload of work.
Right, and it's just like we got to make the game better for everyone basically. So yeah, people want to see ship movement without the wiggle because we got some wiggly butts on our ships when you're moving.
I'm torn on that, honestly.
Oh yeah?
The problem is that when you're going up, you literally cross through tiles. That probably won't matter, but it bugs my my gameplay self.
Oh my god, I think I actually finally got Twitch to say Galactic Civilizations 3 dev stream instead of Galactic Civilizations 3 dev stream June 6th. This is a big win for me. This is a big moment.
My ship?
I'm very excited.
So let's see. So when we go here, we're going to wiggle. Oh, damn it. I don't have time for that. Oh, I'm screwed. I just, anyways. We will play with it. I know a lot of people don't like that. It is. I've kind of gotten used to it, and I don't like the idea of ships cutting through tiles that they don't belong to. So for a good example here is if we smoothed this, when it did that, it would have actually went like, whoop. Can they see my mouse?
They should be able to see your mouse.
So
yes.
it would essentially go like this, and you'd end up with this ship in an area that it's not really in the tile it is.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a hard one to like this. Like literally, it is. I'm going to this tile. I'm going to this tile. I'm going to this tile. The minute it goes through the middle of these two tiles, which tile is it in?
Right.
And that could lead to a little bit of confusion.
Well, if it's only a display thing and it's only on a confirmed move order.
So
no.
we now make it go, oh, is there anything anywhere near me? If so, wiggle. If there isn't, then go straight. I mean, like I said, it's not as simple a problem as, but that doesn't mean we won't try.
Sure.
So.
We had a ton of questions that we didn't get to. I apologize for that today, guys, but frankly, it's just because we had more questions this week, which is great. It's a good problem to have.
Can we do like a lightning round?
No, because I've kind of lost track of the chat.
All the questions. Okay.
So I apologize. It's my fault. You can blame me for it.
All right.
But certainly keep your questions. Put them on the forum. We try to get to them there, or next week on the stream we will try to get to them.
And
there.
I have been shirking my forum duties because I am knee deep in alligators. So it's not because I don't care what you guys think. I just haven't had time to really comment because I have 4 tech trees to make in the next week.
There's a ton of Paul things that need to be done.
Well, I'm actually really confident that code wise we're good for the build. Paul wise, Paul's in trouble, but Paul is working very hard. Not to speak of myself in the third person.
Awesome.
We are taking some time off to watch Evil Dead tonight.
That's right.
So
that's an important.
It's important morale boosting activity.
That's right.
So
that's right. Awesome. Hey, well, thanks for watching, everybody. We will be back next week with more Galactic Civilizations 3. If we could get an internal build this week, we should almost certainly have something internal to show next week.
Cosmetically, hopefully not that much is going to change.
I suppose.
We're
maybe get
mostly
a better.
just trying to get the gameplay aspects in.
I
can maybe show the Drengen tree or things like that, but those aren't.
Oh yeah, tech tree is something
pretty.
Yeah, tech tree is definitely something we need to talk about though, because that's changing a lot from what people are seeing in the alpha right now with the racial tech.
Well, we're doing something very similar to what we did in Galactic 2, where everybody has their own tree. Some of the techs are very similar. As a matter of fact, some of them are directly tradable, but they all have a little spin to them, if only in their description. And so that when you're reading the Drengen tree, it's a whole different experience, even if it's unlocking something very similar to what you had. So I'm really happy with the writing, the description, and I am trying to shake up where things unlock and give everybody a certain kind of momentum. So
sure. All right. Well, maybe tech tree next week. We'll see. Thanks all for watching. We will see you next week.
Bye-bye.